Kindly administer the oath to the nominee.
I, FIFI Fiavi Kwetey,
swear by Almighty God.
Swear by Almighty God.
That the evidence I shall give before this committee.
That the evidence I shall give before this committee.
Touching the matter in issue.
Touching the matter in issue.
Shall be the truth.
Shall be the truth.
The whole truth.
The whole truth.
And nothing but the truth.
And nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you.
Mr. FIFI Kwetey, on behalf of the Appointment Committee, I want to congratulate you on your nomination by His Excellency the President as Deputy Minister of Finance. I also want to take this opportunity to recognize the traditional rulers who have been here since morning, and to say that in actual fact we want to finish with the ministers before we move to the substantive ministers, so they should bear with us. We didn't intend to delay them, but that was the programming. We tried to do one and then bring the minister in so that we can do the second deputy. I hope they will bear with us. I've realized that chiefs from the whole of Ketu South are here. My first question, I've seen from your CV that you are from Nogokpo. But I've also read in the media that you are a citizen of the Republic of Togo. I know as a fact that Nogokpo is in the Volta region, and but there was this media reports that you are from Togo. What was your response to that? Because it's very critical. You have to be a citizen of this country to take the appointment.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. And I'm very grateful for the opportunity to come before this honorable house, this honorable committee. On the issue of my nationality, I would say basically it's one of those things that go with the game of politics, where sometimes when people are not exactly too sure how to take you on, they come up with all kinds of allegations, hoping that somehow those allegations can, as it were, put you down. I am FIFI Fiavi Kwetey. The Kwetey family, from time immemorial, from my generation to my father's generation to my grandfather's generation, all the way, as far as I know, have always been integral part of first the Gold Coast and Ghana. My father comes from Nogokpo. His name is Joseph Darcy Kofi Kwetey. His father comes from Nogokpo. As far as I hear much earlier on, my people originally hailed from Ningo. That's in the greater Accra region. And they were fisher folks. In fact, that's why the name sounds Kwetey, which is actually a Ghana name rather than a Neve name. And because they were fisher folks, they eventually settled down the beach to Nogokpo. I hear the original name of the place was Ningopo, which became corrupted into Nogokpo. I'm not too sure about the linguistic dimensions of it, but that is as far as my father goes. Now, that's about my father. My father's father comes from Nogokpo, as I said. My father's mother comes from the Atipo family in the Anyako constituency, in the Anyako town. And Anyako is in the Keta constituency. That's an integral part of Ghana as well. Now, some people also have said, okay, your father is actually Ghanaian, but your mother is a Togolese. Mr. Chairman, my mother is, the name of my mother is Benonia Esi Romado Aivon. And the Aivon family comes from Denu, also in the Ketu South. In fact, comes from the royal home of the Aivon family. And I have here my uncle, Togbi Baku Aivon, who is present here. If I forgot to mention that, I actually have my uncle, Togbi Adom from Nogokpo, also here. I also have Togbi Atipo, also coming from Anyako, who is here. My mother comes from Denu, as I said, that is my mother's father. My mother's mother comes from Kliko, also in the Ketu South constituency. And if for people who know about both Nogoku and Kleko, they would have known. Those two are what you call spiritual, strongholds of the Volta region. And that's exactly where I come from. And that's my mother's.
Are you coming to threaten?
Yes, that's my mother's mother. Now, my mother's father, as I said, comes from Ketu, from Denu. My mother's mother from Kleko. Now, having said all I said, in terms of parentage, there is also not a doubt at all that I'm a Ghanaian, not just by parentage, but also by birth. I was born 42 years ago in a town in the Volta region known as Hohwe. At the time, my father, who was a Barclays bank manager in Hohwe, and my mother was a nurse in the Hohwe government hospital. The two of them met, and the rest is history, and that's me. And that's where I was born 42 years ago. My father subsequently lived in that town, died. My mother emigrated eventually from there and settled in Aflao, which actually is virtually my adopted town, where virtually I grew up, spent virtually my whole infancy. And the traditional ruler of Aflao, Togbi Fiti, is here as well, as another testimony of my absolutely unquestionable roots when it comes to Ketu South and comes to the Keta constituency, and when it comes to being a proud son of Ghana. Of course, of Ningo.
You started your primary school not in Ghana but in Togo, from your CV, is that right?
That is absolutely accurate. It so happened that like very many other children who grew up in the border town of Aflao, our parents always thought it was always an opportunity to have an access to a second language. My elder brother started schooling ahead of me, and then when I came of age, I joined also. Basically, we walk across the border. So from Aflao, basically you walk 5 minutes to the border, you cross the border, another 5 minutes, I was in school. And the name of my school, for people who know Lome, the school is based in a place close to the border known as Kojoviakope. Now, École Christ Roi of Kojoviakope was where I started schooling. And I did my primary school in École Christ Roi, and subsequently continued to the secondary school. My secondary school in Togo is known as Collège Protestant. Incidentally happened to be quite a high-profile school where virtually all the Yadimes children were some of my mates also in that same school. Subsequent to finishing Collège Protestant, I felt it was time to come back home. I've acquired a good grounding in French. It was time basically to come home to my country, where basically I didn't live anywhere, because basically for the most part, except for somewhere in 1982 and 83, where because of the long closure of the borders, I had no option but to live in Togo with relatives who were there. Because living across the border, you always have the case where you have people marrying across. And I had an auntie of mine who was married across the border. So that's where I lived in 82, 83. But subsequent to that, I came back home to Aflao and started schooling in Bishop Herman and continued to Achimota School.
What do you bring on board? What are you what are you adding to the ticket at the Ministry of Finance to support, if given the nod, to support the minister, and indeed by extension the President of the Republic?
I would say the greatest thing I bring on board is a desire to bring a difference. It's also an opportunity to establish once and for all that the younger generation is capable of helping to, as it were, send this country in the right direction. And I would say I express great gratitude to the President for the honor and the privilege of nominating me. I feel it's a call to duty. A call to duty also in the respect that it's not the case that you can always find a situation where somebody my age will be called to, as it were, be serving in that capacity. Neither it is also that of many in my generation who also are going to appear before you. So I bring about a lot of desire, a lot of determination to bring about a difference. I would say I bring about also a freshness and a desire to challenge the status quo. Because I believe that as a country, we've been on a certain road over the last 52 years. And with all the best effort that we've put, our 52 years cannot actually be said to have landed us in the most glorious destination that we can call ourselves today. We could have done much, much, much more. And I feel it is the opportunity for our generation to also, as it were, touch that handle and bring something new, bring something fresh to what effort have been made by the older generation as a way of seeing whether over the next 50 years, if God grants us life, we would be able to, as it were, bring about much greater strides for our nation than has been achieved over the last 52 years. That for me is the greatest I bring. That readiness to learn, that desire to be able to do the best I can for my country, a country I love and for always love, and basically prepare to die for if need be.